Thunder defense?
You know, we were just a step slow at all those things, which kind of gave them, you know,
like they on one string.
Yeah, they were like on one string defensively. They had a
15 cup is on one string.
And that would be about all she wrote. Going ahead to the fourth quarter here, these are just the finishing touches here. SGA attacks and one, gets it to go. OKC rolls in this one. SGA is your Western Conference Finals MVP, adds another trophy to his trophy case. He's been effective this postseason, really breaking down defenses, creating offense as well. He has 10 games in these playoffs with 30 points and 5 assists. The only players to ever do that alongside him, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. They each did it 3 times. Here's SGA after winning the Western Conference Finals MVP.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling. I think stuff you dream about as a kid. And of course, I want to thank my teammates. Without them, I'm nothing. Clear as day. I don't have 124 points by myself. I love these guys to death. Now, with all that being said, this is a step in the right direction, but we have a lot more work to do, and we know that, and that's what we're focused on. So let's buckle up and get ready.
Buckle up and get ready because the Thunder are going back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2012 when Kendrick Perkins was on this team. This Thunder team, though, Perk, is elite in so many ways. Well, they've been elite in so many ways. What makes them so special?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you invest in real estate, you might want to come and invest in these open properties around here, around this arena, because this team going to be relevant for a long time, at least the next decade. And it started with last night. I knew they was going to win, but after the game, I wanted to see what type of emotions they were going to have. Of course, they was going to be smiling in the moment, but every single one of those guys from Chet, SGA, their leaders, they got on the mic and they talked about how the mission was not complete, and that's what I wanted to hear. It was nice for them to get there, but it's another step that they're trying to take and they will take to go complete the mission of winning the championship, and this is just the start.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about how they broke Minnesota mentally. I think the question that we all had about OKC is, was they savage enough? Were they tough enough? Have they had enough sleepless nights? Well, they proved how savage they were last night, because I'm looking at the body language of Minnesota, and from the jump, I don't think they ever had a chance. Heads down, not getting back on defense. You got to act like a champion before you become a champion. That's what great teams do for you. They don't only wear on you physically, but they break you mentally, and they broke Minnesota.
You know how they broke them mentally? It was through their defense. It has been years since we've seen a defense this good. I mean, their defense is in a different stratosphere compared to the rest of the NBA. And you heard Anthony Edwards, what he said. They operate, they move like they're on a string. I'll tell you what he means right here. Alex Caruso had 4 steals. He's right here guarding Rudy Gobert, the 5. He's smart with the hedge, comes out, gets his hand, gets a deflection, gets a full steal. And this is why we say this team is unselfish. That's how you get your star player going, and Shay's like, hey, I got you, bro. Another possession, Caruso playing quarterback or safety on defense. He's pointing to Hartenstein saying, hey, you're the guy that's going to cleanse strong side to make sure when Naz Reid makes his signature spin move, I'm right there, forces a turnover, and he's ready to close out on the weak side as well, gets the outlet. And then this was a play that sort of had me laughing because it was family on family crime. Here he's guarding Anthony Edwards, but look at how they load up to the basketball. This is why 100% of his drives typically were defended, because it does not matter if you have a corner shooter. Everyone's playing the ball, and that's why it's great. And then they take it and score the other way. That was cousin on cousin crime. Again, we have not seen a defense like this in so many years.
You know when your defense is great in its own point, you have people convinced on the outside world that's watching that you're in the zone. Stephen A. said on Countdown yesterday, they somewhat in the man matchup zone. I'm like, no, the hell they not. They just get into you, and they have a great shell. And this team is disciplined. We saw that. Alex Caruso on the fly, he's pointing. When you're tied together on the string, that's what you see. The first step of defense is communication, right? You see those guys communicating switches. They switching aggressive on the perimeter. This is a great defensive team, one of the greatest I've seen in the NBA history.
And it takes trust defensively, because when I showed you in that breakdown, you know, a lot of people say, oh, don't come off of quarter shooters. You saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander almost on the elbow. What does he do? It means he's staying there long enough knowing that I can trust that I can get back there and make closeout. Time and time again, these guys are committed to each other, not just offensively, but defensively, and it's a beautiful sight.
And multiple efforts. You never know how many efforts you're going to have to give in a defensive possession. You just got to give enough just to get the ball back.
Right.
We keep watching that clip where Caruso gets that steal. Julius Randle doesn't get back. There was a later clip in that game where Caruso actually chases down Nas Reed, does nothing, but Nas Reed dribbles it off his foot and it goes out of bounds just because Alex Caruso gave an effort. They gave multiple efforts all night. They deserve to win.
But let's not pretend they don't bring the thunder on offense, too. Like, this team has been a wagon all season long. They've won 68 games. They've been a wagon. They've won 68 games.
I like that.
Look at this. They have the highest point differential in a season all time here as well. On the other side of things, though, Anthony Edwards, he didn't seem that concerned with losing in the conference finals for the second straight season. Knowing Ant a little bit, he deals with joy. This is how he copes. But take a listen. I'm curious your thoughts on this.
It's exciting. I don't know why people would think it would hurt. I mean, it's exciting for me. I'm 23. I get to do it a whole bunch of times. I'm hurt more so for myself, for Mike. I came up short for Mike. Like I said, we tried last year. We couldn't get it. We tried again this year. We're going to try again next year. But hurting is a terrible word to use. I'm good.
I mean, I gotta give this is for you, young king. Ant-Man, do not take it for granted. As an OG, I appreciate you doing this for the OG, Mike Conley, but do not take this opportunity for granted. You've been to 2 Western Conference Finals early in your career. You're only 23 years old. You have so much basketball to go. But I went in 2006, and me and Dwayne Wade were naive enough to think that we were going to go back, and we didn't go back for 6 years, the longest 6 years ever. Then I was blessed with the big 3. We went 4 straight times. Perky was part of that. Sorry about that. But you can speak on it because you never went back after that for a while until you know what I'm saying? So you know how it is. But you don't get those opportunities as much as you might think as a young basketball player. So, Ant-Man, I appreciate you shouting out the OG and you doing that for the OG. But do not take this for granted, young fella. It goes fast. And you look back and you don't have an opportunity to do it again.
And that's part of it, right? You get comfortable when you have a lot of success early, right? But you're supposed to feel pain. It's supposed to hurt, right? Like, I think about, because we have these so many comparison of, you know, he's Jordan-esque, right? Because of the highlights and his persona and all this. But when you think about what Jordan went through, I think about the series when the Bad Boys Pistons broke the Bulls. They broke Jordan.
Beat the hell out of him.
They broke Jordan. Like, they made Jordan get in the weight room.
Yeah.
You remember what Coach Finch said last night? Did you hear his comments? He said Anthony has to do a better job of playing through physicality or being physical. So that your coach calling you out again to go punch in the clock this offseason.
Well, but Anthony Edwards did say, we didn't play this part, but he did say there's no one that's going to be working harder than me this summer. And I think that's important context for us to include as well. I don't think that he's passing this off necessarily as I just expect to be here every year. But at the same time, there's an intensity maybe that Anthony Edwards didn't bring to that post-game comment in particular. The Wolves, so they might not look the same next year. They held exit interviews this morning. Let's take a listen to Julius Randle here on his looming free agency.
Yeah, I haven't even really thought about it, but I will say, I mean, you know, having the ability to compete for a championship is everything I can ask for at this point in my career, so we'll see.
When a team goes home, that means Bobby Money Moves joins us. Bobby, can you just let us know here, explain what exactly the Timberwolves are facing this offseason?
Yeah, Malik, I think there's 4 things to keep an eye on this offseason. Certainly the Julius Randle free agency. Him and Nas Reed have a player option in their contract. They have until June 29th to opt in or out of their contract. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is another player to keep an eye on. Did the development of Terrence Shannon potentially squeeze him out as far as coming back next year? I think the second thing is, it's probably the most important, is player development 101. Terrence Shannon, Rob Dillingham, Jalen Clark, those 3 players have to develop into rotational players. Mike Conley's going into the last year of his contract next year. They've got 2 picks in the draft, 17 and 31. They don't control their first and 6 out of the next 7 years. And then the fourth one, which is important also, do they have enough left to go out and make a big deal if one of these marquee players become available? And that's something certainly they're going to have to analyze within that Timberwolves front office.
So Chris Finch said today it's our intention to keep everybody here. But I was just checking my notes because they made a couple of big moves here. Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle. Could another big trade be in their future here, Bobby?
Well, I think it's 2 ways to look at it here. If you're looking at trying to trade draft equity and getting in that mix, they don't have enough to get involved. When you look at the only pick they can trade is that Pistons pick, which is the 17th pick in the draft. However, If you look at it from contractually, from contract standpoint, certainly Jaden McDaniels, the young players in Dillingham and Shannon Jr., certainly Jalen Clark, Dante DiVincenzo, Mike Conley's unexpired. You can piecemeal enough contracts to get certainly the Randall free agency, potential free agency, and also the player option of Naz Reid plays a role. But as you guys have watched, depth matters in these playoffs here. And what does a roster potentially look at if you go out and try to acquire Kevin Durant or even Giannis if he becomes available? You're basically trading away 4 or 5 players for one player there.
And that's what I was going to ask, Bobby, because you said depth matters, but having a bona fide number 2 option matters as well. And I know the rumbles of KD, but I'm looking at Giannis. What would it take for them to get Giannis here